It looks like this.
Would you like hear all the background noise and everything?
Yes. You could mute it.
Has she?
It's on, Matt.
Who's on second? Hey, Rick.
God by many names, love from many hearts. Come inside, you don't have to hide, you're perfect as you are. You're already not alone. God by many names, love from many hearts. Come inside, you don't have to hide, you're perfect as you are. You're already not alone. God by many names, love from many hearts. Come inside, you don't have to hide, you're perfect as you are. You're already not alone. You're already not alone. Morning, everybody. Welcome to CSL St. George. In case you didn't know. The lyrics to these songs on these CDs more for my benefit than anybody's, even if I wrote it. Is anybody going through any changes right now in their life? I'm going through my
Manopause.
yeah. Going through my third midlife crisis right now. But just embrace it. There's a path that we know many people take, seeking truth and some things unexplained. Sitting out on a road that is mostly unknown, sometimes does not worry and pain. We set out instead, not knowing what's ahead, wondering what lies around the bend. In faith we know that wherever we go, we're eternal and this road has no end. Honor the mystery, the change. Only one thing remains the same. Only thy name. The mystery and grace and shame. Now we've come together and move along, creating heaven right here at home. We honor the old ways and bless the new. Open our hearts and welcome you. Honor the mystery and grace and shame. Only one thing remains the same. That Holy Spirit, calling our name. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Deep inside, we all know when we only let go. When God leads us in fear. The slower we go, the sooner we know. And everything will become clear. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That Holy Spirit, calling our name. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That Holy Spirit, calling our name. Honor the mystery, the change. Honor the mystery. Embrace the change. Thank you, Debbie.
Check. Go, good. Okay, good morning. All right, I love seeing a full room. Welcome. How many people are blown away that it's October already?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So welcome, welcome, welcome. We like to take this time to welcome new people. If you're for the first time, visitors, etc. If you don't mind, raise your hand and let us see who you are. Okay, if you don't mind, you may pass. Stand up and share who you are, maybe how you heard about us.
I'm Star Valerie. This is my dad, Dwayne. He didn't raise his hand.
You got called out, Dwayne. Thank you.
And yeah, I went to CSL on Kauai for a long time.
Yeah, beautiful place. Yes, I have a friend who runs that now.
Say hi here.
Welcome, welcome. And ma'am, behind you.
And new to the area, so I found you actually through James, and yeah, it's just new to the area.
Well, welcome. Thank you, thank you. Good to see you, James. Welcome back. Sir.
My name is Wes Craig. I came last time we held a meeting here, thoroughly enjoyed it, felt comfortable, felt like you just said at home.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's what we're aiming for. And I'm going to go back. Anybody, did I miss anybody over here? And anybody over here? Non-newbies. You're about, not what I call veterans already. So welcome everybody. We're going to have a great time today. And let's play a little ditty while we give them a minute or two to commune with each other and welcome each other, because we only get to see each other once a month right now. We know that's changing, but let's just stand up and go ahead and drink meat.
Marina, let me know you left next month.
All right. Let's go ahead and return to our seat. Thank you.
That's a good thing.
So this time we are going to continue our service with something we call the Flames of Faith. And this is where we take time to honor and recognize the many pathways, even what we mentioned There's a lot more than that, but these are some of the main ones. We perform the Flames of Faith ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life. We acknowledge that all people and all things, all beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit, among many other names. So first, we light the unity candle, which represents the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience. We honor that here today. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle honoring the Tao, the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all paths of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light a candle acknowledging religious science and all forms of new thought, the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principle. We light the next candle for inclusivity, affirming that all are welcome here, including those who have not yet found their faith. And lastly, we now light the healing candle and invite you to silently offer into the light the names of loved ones, knowing that they are now the perfect expression of Spirit's eternal wholeness and love. And so it is.
We're going to relax a little bit. Sue's going to come up here in a minute and then offer our invocation. So just sit back, feel safe. In the silence of this moment, there's a presence here. In the silence of this moment, it whispers in my ear. In the silence of this moment, my search for hope. In the silence of this moment, God and I are one.
Before I pray, I wanted to read something from this month's Science of Mind. We find that the essence of the power of prayer is faith and acceptance. In addition to the law of faith and acceptance, the law of mental equivalence must be considered. I believe that all prayer is heard, the prayer of the heart especially, knowing that we've all had different experiences with prayer. I'm going to lead you today in an affirmative prayer, and it's also called a prayer treatment. So join with me and let my words be your words. I recognize the presence, the holy ground that we stand on, the companionship of the Holy Spirit. It touches me. It feels warm and loving. It feels like Mother, Father, God. I recognize this power, the Creator, and I recognize that I am a mighty creation of that power. That my life now is an emanation of the power of God. That as I accept and have faith and believe, it is done. I walk in holy ways. I realize the blessings, the abundance, the prosperity and ease that we can live life if our thoughts are in the mind, in the one mind. And I join with this group in expressing a mighty prayer for our minister and his family, loving and appreciative of having him and them with us, and knowing that any obstacle keeping them from being in our presence permanently is removed, and right here, right now. Everything works together for the good of CSL St. George, and that is having this desire realized. The presence of Spirit rests with each of us today as we open our minds and hearts to the message. We are grateful for a law that listens to our desire and acts upon that which will bring us the best and highest good. And I release this prayer, knowing it is done. It is, and so it is.
In the silence of this moment, there's a holy presence near. In the silence of this moment, Spirit whispers in my ear. In the silence of this moment, my search for hope is done. In the silence of this moment, God and I, God and I are one.
Again, from this little treasure, Holly Sharp is the editor and the creative director of the Science of Mind magazine. And she gives an overview of what the month's magazine message will be. And she says, quoting from one of the contributors, Reverend Dr. Carol Carnes, "We are a living paradox, spiritual and human, feminine and masculine, young and mature." She says mature, not old. Forever young, right? The list of balance goes on. We are blessed with the ability to reason, yet oftentimes our most soul-fulfilling outcomes are leaps of faith, trusting our gut and having confidence in our inner wisdom. Dr. Ernest Holmes, who founded this magazine in October 1927, had faith in his years of independent study and his passion for world religions and spiritual truths. As is the tradition in October, Reverend Dr. Jesse Jennings curated 31 days of Holmes' teachings for the daily guides. Jennings paired the selections with his own reflections. And I want to read one that came the other day that was so beautiful. From October 5th. This is Ernest Holmes. God is warmth. Spirit is colorful. The universe is filled with light. A voice speaks from everything, running brooks, stones and trees, animals and moon and stars, deserts and stillness. And you can listen to the stillness until it speaks to you. We are sharing extra copies of former Science of Mind magazines here on the table. If you don't have it at home, please take one. And just every month is filled with beautiful, beautiful wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Well, this song's been rewritten by many artists through the years. Originally, Bob Dylan did it. So I changed some words too, just so I wouldn't be different than anybody else. The Holy Spirit is with you. I'm gonna change the key so I can be with the tambourine. The Holy Spirit is with you down every road you roam. And the sunshine and happiness surround you when you're far from home. You were born to be proud, dignified, and do unto others what you have done unto you. Be courageous and be brave, and in your heart you will remain forever young, forever young, forever young, forever young. No good fortune is with you, and your guiding light is strong. Build a stairway to heaven with a prince and a vagabond. You will never love in vain, and in your heart you will remain forever young, forever young, forever young. Forever young. Forever young. When you finally fly away, I'll be home, and I've served you well. For all the wisdom of a lifetime, no one can ever tell. For whatever road you choose, I'm right behind you, win or lose. Forever young, forever young, forever young, forever young, forever young, forever young.
I'm sorry, what was the name of that song? Let's give Ellen a round of applause, please. That is a ministry in and of itself there, Ellen. It's called a musical ministry, right? You're choosing to help us, support us with the energy and vibration, and this was perfect before I stood up. Pause. Apparently my ears moved, not my head before. Walked in. We'll work with that. Oh, good morning and welcome as we continue our monthly theme of playing with the paradox. And last week we talked about that. What is a paradox? And so I'm just going to share Brene Brown's simple definition, which is it's the apparent contradiction between two related components. And I used, I'm visual, so I like using pictures. So in your mind, if you picture the yin-yang symbol, the black and the white, but of course, within the black side, there's the white dot. Within the white side, there's the black dot. So in essence, two seemingly opposite things are still part of that wholeness. And in our life, we call that duality. And the paradox is we live in what seemingly seems like two polarities, but yet it's all within the same energy of that which we call life itself, the universal presence. And what we're going to talk about today is this idea of being weary of just choosing one side over the other. Last week I shared a parable about the farmer and about, he kept saying, what is good or bad, as things kept coming up in his life, because he recognized it's all relative. It depends on where you're standing in the moment. And it's not just one or two ways, but today we're going to talk about a third way of managing this idea of living in apparently less than wholeness, apparent separation, but we know that's not true. So we're going to talk about a third way. That's me. And that's the title. And here we go. So we're going to start off the quote from Ernest Holmes. He says, keep the doorway of your mind open, feeling, thinking, communing with this life. Know that it fills you with light and with power. And that's just a simple reminder for us as we talk about really a complex idea of paradox and how we're really living this life, to keep it simple. Right where you are, bless you, you're going to take in what you can take in. And what I know is the way that spirit works is there is only one mind, and yet we each are individualizations of that. We each have, in essence, our own antenna to that mind, and you're going to receive exactly what you need to receive today. We hold that as true, yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
All right. Just making sure you're with me. And Holmes is very clear that we are spiritual beings having a human existence. Right there, another paradox, another sense of duality. And yet so often, again, we get caught up seeing from one perspective that we miss another. So if we're, let's say, on polar side A, if we're really focused on this oneness and wholeness for the big picture, we may miss the opportunity to reach out right here in our physical world with love and compassion and empathy. And on the other side, if we get so caught up living in this human world, then we kind of miss the opportunity to recognize our wholeness and our divinity, our eternality here, that this is, in essence, it's an experience, it's a pit stop. And our mind doesn't like that. Our mind operates in this or that. And so, yes, there is a new perspective, and science of mind simply asks that we embrace this idea of polarity between humanity and divinity. And that's really, if you think about it, what New Thought does. It allows us to consider the possibility that we are what we are praying, in essence, many times to. We realize we don't have to do that. It's right here, right now, that there is no separation. It seems like God and us. And a lot of times that's just us trying to figure it out in our own terms, in our own way. Just like back in the day, Jesus quoted God as the Father. And that was one of the best ways for them to understand this divine presence, this divine power, protection, and love. And we now extend from that. As Ernest Holmes says, we are open at the top. So we recognize that it's not just the Father, the Mother, God, and us in essence of separation, but truly, and this was the download that I was trying to explain last week that I received from our class, our foundations class, that I just recognize in a new way that it's like not up there, it's not even out there, because my mind tends to go to space and where it's all just black and infinite possibilities, but literally there it's fullness, it's right here. Again, Again, the simple analogy is the fish swimming in the ocean looking for the water. It's there. It's all around. It surrounds us. It's in it. The fish is breathing it in, taking it in, and expressing it out. And that's what we're doing. Excuse me. Thich Nhat Hanh, the amazing wise monk, he said, our practice is based on the insight of non-duality. Both our negative feelings and our positive feelings are organic and belong to the same reality. So there is no need to fight. We only need to embrace and take care. Mind doesn't like that. Especially before I met New Thought Science of Mind. It wanted to know the way. If it's this or that, tell me which way is correct. How many people understand what I'm saying? We keep looking for that way. Why? Because that's control, right? If I got it down to one, maybe I can hang on to that one, right? And I'm going to hold on to that one all my life. And if something comes up that's opposite of it, we're going. We're duking it out. And what Thich Nhat Hanh is saying is it's all still, again, the yin yang, it's all part of the oneness that we all live in. Just like this is our oneness of our spiritual community, and yet we're in the oneness of the larger community. We're in the oneness of the state, and so on, and it's infinite. And all that is still the power, the presence, the spirit, the essence is right here in this moment with you. Do me a favor, close your eyes and just take a nice, slow, deep breath. And feel that presence. It is there without fail every time. So, in essence, was there an in-breath? Was there an out-breath? Or was there just breath? Present. Go ahead and open your eyes. Don't bother me. Excellent. So, a couple of talking points. We're going to talk about navigating these polarities. And as I said, often we kind of stand on this one side or another. And if you think about it, the language that we use moving through the world often kind of supports this idea of this or that. How many times have you heard this idea of, are you a morning owl or are you a night owl? Right? Is it coffee or tea? Dogs, cats, this or that. Are you a saver or are you a spender? Are you Republican or Democrat? This or that. And it forces us, in essence, to choose sides. Now, what religious science is going to say is that's okay, right? We live in this world. We are in this human reality, and we're trying to get along. So we're navigating. It's good to have 2 points. I need to know where I'm at and where I want to go. That's good. That's 2 polarities. That way I can operate. I need to know where I am at in order to know also if I am going in the right direction, because we feel that. Yet, if we get stuck, particularly in a thought or a way of being, no matter how right it seems, we are limiting our experience. So we're forced to pick sides, and once we've chosen a side, again, whether it's in a simple belief, a small idea, or whatnot, then what happens is we become really biased. We begin, there's the right word, we begin to, in essence, only take in what we can see through that narrow perspective. Again, even if it's a great truth, is there another, we talked about this idea that the opposite of a great truth is often another great truth. And so we take in the benefits of polar side A, but we never get to experience the opposite. And that's important. It's important to know why I choose this. And if this is where I'm happy, that's great. Why are you happy? Most of us, most people don't know. I'm comfortable, okay, but that's a very limiting thing because we can get comfortable doing a lot of painful things, can't we? Right? Amen to that? So this idea is opening ourselves up, looking at our current side, asking like important questions like, is this current side, this current experience limiting my ability to experience more of what it is that I say I want to experience? Think about it. Like even right now as you stand today, if we look back 10 years ago, most of us, I'm going to guess, I'm going to say 100%, are in a better place. And so in wholeness, our lack of belief that we are the divine in human form, having an experience. So we believe in the apparent limitations that we're in. I didn't like that. I think I'm going too slow. I don't even know where I am now. Hopefully that's the next quote. No nature.
It is.
It is? Okay. So we'll just leave that up and I'll get to it when I get to it. So again, just consider the idea of where we're at in this idea of it may be good for now, but we're going to be open at the top as Earth asks us to be. Now this can be, the word is uncomfortable, and that's the talk title, about getting comfortable being uncomfortable. What do we know about being comfortable? It feels safe. It feels like we can control it. However, we're not growing. We're not growing if we're comfortable. Now, we're always creating. Keep that in mind. So I'm comfortable. I'm just going to continue to think thoughts, feel, and believe what's going on is good for you right here. Now, maybe this new door opens, and it's taking what you have and evolving this even more so. And it's perfect for us. But we're too comfortable. We're too afraid to look at polar side B because it's different, and that's uncomfortable. It can be fairly easy to shift back and forth between two polarities when we have little to lose. For example, again, if I said, well, I like to live with dogs, which I do, and then I met my wife who has cats, and that was a polar opposite, because I really don't like cats. And now I'm kind of in the middle. I can live with them, I tolerate them, and I have a cat that kind of acts like a dog, so that works for me. See, there's the third way. So, but this does become more challenging when I say this, meaning this idea of moving back and forth between two polarities is, when we have something to lose, that it becomes more uncomfortable. I'm going to read this, there's an example here, and it's from Brene Brown's book called Atlas of the Heart. And I'm just going to kind of sum it up because it's a long story. But back in the early mid-1950s, a social psychologist named Leon Festinger and a couple of his associates infiltrated a doomsday cult, specifically to find out what's going to happen when what this guy was saying, which was this person was saying that on December 21st of that year, which is 1954, that the world was going to end, but on the midnight of the night before, a spaceship, bless you, was going to come down and save all of them. They were the chosen ones. And they wanted to study what was going to happen to the members when it didn't happen. And so they did. Now, their prediction was that the believers who had not made a strong commitment to the prophecy would quietly just lose their faith and go amongst their way. And those who had given away, and many people gave up everything. Because if you think in your heart the world's going to end, you don't need money, you don't need possessions, and if you don't believe me here, just take all my stuff. So a lot of people quit their jobs, sold their homes, etc. They have nothing because they're going on this spaceship. They don't need anything. And so they predicted that those who had given away their possessions and waited with the other believers for this spaceship would double down on their belief in the mystical ability. So in other words, when we have something really strongly that we believe in, even when it's showing up as not true, we're going to double down because of that uncomfortability. Think about that. I guarantee you, if you give it thought, there's a time in your life where something was presented, you kind of knew it was right, and yet we weren't ready to be, in essence, wrong. I'm not going to use that word, but uncomfortable in choosing a new polarity, a new idea. So, as he predicted, when it did not happen, where did it go? So when it did not materialize, the followers who lost the most demonstrate blah, blah, blah. Okay, sorry. So when the spaceship was a no-show, their leader shared a new vision all of a sudden. He says, because of their amazingly strong faith that they were saved and the whole world was saved. How convenient, right? And that they had been spared. And it says, as Festinger hypothesized, the most invested members responded by calling the media with the great news, and that they became even more invested evangelists for the group. So again, it's tough. Now think about it. If we're talking about something as simple as changing sports teams, perhaps, right? It might be a funny one, but it's going to be uncomfortable for a while. I came out here, stop it. Came out here, I did less quotes for a reason today. I came out here from Buffalo, New York, and I still love my hometown. I'm a huge hockey fan, my Buffalo Sabres. But I've been out here, I was out in Vegas for a long time, and they picked up a brand new team, and I wanted to be a part of that. And I took that on, and we were season tickets holders. But it still felt very uncomfortable to be, cheering on a team that's not in blue, white, and gold, and they're in fact black and gold. And then the one day when we played each other for the first time, sorry you can't see me, I'll try to do better. It was still uncomfortable, it was fun, but I found myself more willing at that point to go, okay, it's just a game. Okay, I don't really have anything to lose in this. But in order to grow and evolve in our faith, we must be willing to look at or into different ideas and views, and to admit that maybe there is a better thought, a better way for us. Now that doesn't make us wrong. It makes us human. Now, if you think about this, we do this all the time as children. We're so willing to just go try something new. It doesn't matter, because why? What was the name of the game? Fun, joy. That's what we wanted. So if you had a better way, I always do this after lunch, and we always play Foursquare. Now you're asking me to play, I don't know what's called, the Maypole or something like that. Like, I'll give that a shot. If you're saying that's fun, let's go. But then we kind of mature. Is that the word we use today? We mature. We get old in our thinking. And when things are old, they get slow. When they're slow, they weigh us down. It's truth. We get comfortable. And so it's all about moving forward. And so in essence, we need to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. So if I'm going to, I use this example for my students all the time. If I'm looking at making a change, and let's say I see this brand new jacket that I want to buy. My old one's I've outgrown it, it's worn away. I know there's a better idea for this jacket. And even then, sometimes I'm willing to try it, and I get this new jacket. But I realize it doesn't fit. Like, it looks good on me, but it doesn't feel like the old jacket. It doesn't fit me in the same way. I'm hotter, or I'm colder, or it doesn't look as good as I thought it would with what I thought it was going to. And that's not so much of a big deal. But obviously in this spiritual community, I feel like sometimes, well, the price is higher. We're talking about God. We're talking about life and how that shows up. And so, is there anyone in this room who doesn't feel a little more involved, that we have a little more to lose, when it seems like a bigger belief system that we're trying to take on it, when we're trying to look into something new? And I know for a fact that there's people in here now that are looking for something new. And I remember when I was that person. And it was uncomfortable until it was uncomfortable. But having that willingness to take that step, right? To believe in the fact that it's still all part of God, all part of Spirit, all part of life unfolding. And it's unfolding for our best and highest good. That's an affirmation that I will never let go. It's too easy to get comfortable. But if I step over here and go, no matter what it looks like, no matter what my experience is, even if I found out, you know what, this really isn't for me, that's okay. That's growth. And moving forward, we're looking at A, we're looking at B, and now we're going to look at C. So rather than forcing ourselves into a single side of polarity, or swinging back and forth, in essence, between two sides, in essence, looking back again, that yin-yang symbol, we're going to find the third way. And this requires a bit of vulnerability, because being uncomfortable means we're vulnerable. We don't feel as if we can control the situation, and generally, we really can't control any situation. We control how we respond and experience that situation, event, circumstance. And so, now I think we're finally caught up. All right, so now you already read it probably a million times, but Brian Emerson says, standing in the third, and notice he says standing in the third way is a practice. It relies on a way of being and doing that most of us were never taught. It requires self-awareness, conscious choice, and courageous action. Let that soak in. Self-awareness. I gotta know where I'm at. I gotta know where I'm starting. Come on, I thought it would be nice. Okay. It requires conscious choice. Now, why do we say conscious choice? Because a lot of the times we put things on automatic. Okay, that's not bad. But what do we have on automatic? And even if, again, if it was great right now, let's say I have my watering clock on automatic. But it's fall. If I leave it on the current clock in May, I'm going to have no grass left by the end of May. In Las Vegas, it's going to be dead. So there's times to make a new conscious choice from where we're aware of. And then be courageous. And this is where a community comes in to be supportive, that we're not doing this on our own. Isn't it great to be part of a lovely community? Yes.
Yes.
I come all the way here for to be with you, and I call you my community, even though sometimes I feel still like a guest speaker, and that's true. I remind myself that there truly is no distance between feelings, between the feeling of being accepted and a part. So again, now it's kind of like, in a way, it came to me, it's like polar opposites for me, St. George, Las Vegas, but yet still part of one. And it can be challenging to change our beliefs. Most people, for example, would label themselves as either an introvert or an extrovert. And yet, even the greatest introverts need to have time with people. Maybe not a lot of people, but with other people. And on the flip side, even if you're the greatest extrovert, there's times when I'm going to say, I need to just duck away from it, be by myself, and recharge. And then it helps me appreciate, once again, being with people. So this is the third way. It's not necessarily going back and forth. It's honoring where you're at. As the quote says, where are you standing? If you're standing and you're okay with where you're standing, if you're standing in one polarity or duality, then you're okay, great. But recognize there's more to it. There's always more to it. And recognize that it's all still part of this lovely game we call life that we're playing. And in the end, we're all winners. We tend to forget that. We think there's a way to win this game. The more we do, the more we have, the more we be. Well, where do we come from? What is our birthright? What is our natural state? It's spirit, it's wholeness, it's love, it's joy, it's compassion, without this physical body. That's what we have, look forward in a sense, to going back to. But man, isn't it fun to have this tangible existence, to feel compassion, be able to share that with another in physical form. So this third way is a balance. It's a balance of ourselves with time with one and the other. And discovering in our own way what's right for us. How much time, going back to the extrovert introvert, how much time do I need one versus the other? And honoring that path. This is the paradox again, all in one. Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith, I don't know why it took me so long to say his name, he has a great quote that says, pain pushes until the vision pulls. And so if you're feeling some kind of pain, maybe that's that other polarity calling you. Doesn't mean you have to jump all the way, right? Again, I use the analogy of that dimmer switch. You don't have to go from dark to full light. If you want to, great, but maybe just a little bit at a time and check it out. There's nothing, like we don't want to just jump in the water if we haven't really checked things out. It's okay to dip your toe in and see for a little bit, but have that courage to do so. Because there's so many options. There's so many ways of being, of living, of inspiring. And it's new all the time. Turn on the television. It's new all the time. And what are we allowing in? So, perfect. So Ernest Holmes says, no matter what our emotional storm or what our objective situation may be, there is always a something hidden in the inner being that has never been violated. We may stumble, but always there is that eternal voice forever whispering in our ear, that thing which causes the eternal quest, that thing which forever sings and sings. What is that that is calling you on this quest, to continue on this quest, that is singing to you in only the words and only the music and vibration that you can experience and hear? And do you have the courage to take yourself up and get a little uncomfortable to experience, again, more of what you want to experience? Andre Gide says one doesn't discover new lands without consenting to lose sight of the shore for a very long time. So it's kind of like Anthony Robbins really states, basically, you burn your boats. He says, if you really want to make change and you know 100% that it's better for you, burn your boats. In other words, there's no way to go back. Go forward, and go forward with the right mentality. Again, that light, that God is supporting you, that everything is showing up for you, and that everything is right here and right now. You can experience it. Reverend Scott Aubrey says, we can face the difficulty that is before us and understand where the discomfort resides. Even when we avoid the encounter, the tension carries on within us. Many people are in the habit of avoidance. With faith and courage, we can embrace it and bring it into the conversation, into action. It is possible to bring the discomfort into the light of healing and resolution. Now, this slide we're talking about not just within ourselves, but within society itself. I mean, I'm sure everybody kind of heard the big news yesterday, and yet we still haven't learned that we can have peace, but we fight like kindergartners over a toy, over a piece of land, etc. And it may be holy, I get that. But isn't there a better way, a middle ground, everybody can get what you want? Now, how we look at that is a point A. Am I for Israel? Am I for Hamas? Am I for this or am I for that? And can I, and there may be a side. I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong, but can we still understand there's nothing outside of the divine? Now, I know we draw that circle even with our teaching symbol. That's for us to understand the idea that there's nothing outside of it. Now, there's no limits. There's no boundary, like you're driving out in space and you hit some wall, there's nothing on the outside of it. It's all happening within it. So what does that mean? That means it's all divine, every point, every sense of duality. Even the idea of separation must be a divine idea that we can use for our best and highest good in order to evolve. 52, perfect. The idea that I wanted to share again is this idea of the butterfly. We've heard it many times. It starts off as a caterpillar, and then it goes into this cocoon state. And in this cocoon state, as I've read it, literally becomes what they call an embryonic soup, this fluid-filled sac of cells. And inside the protective chrysalis, nothing could be further from the truth, in the essence of that there's nothing going on, and it's just like blah. Basically, that it says every tiny cell is differentiating into the new butterfly. So literally, it decomposes what it was, transformation, into something new. And it does that, in essence, meaning everything it needs for the newness, that journey from where it was in the state of becoming is already there. So what I know to be true for each of us is it's already here, right now. It's in the middle, it's on the end, it's on that end. Wherever you find yourself, the fullness of life is. I find myself repeating to center myself more and more 2 words, and I just keep repeating it. God is. Just keep saying it. No matter what I'm looking at, especially when I'm frustrated, and at work I've had several opportunities to be frustrated, God is. God is. God is. God is. Why didn't she? God is. Now that doesn't mean we're spiritual bypassing. That means we're allowed to have our emotions. That's part of being human. And there's no wrong emotions. Okay? It's, of course, what we do with those emotions. So, rooming. Yes, it's time for rooming. He says, I love this, your hand opens and closes, opens and closes. If it were if it were always a fist or always stretched open, you would be paralyzed. Your deepest presence is in every small contracting and expanding. The two as beautifully balanced and coordinated as birds' wings. So what if we just simply looked at this and that as an opening and closing? And it's okay right where we are. There's some times when we need the fist, and there's some times when we need the open hand. So it's simply important to understand and hold this idea gently, to gently look at our belief system, gently understand where we are, and recognize there's always another way. And it may be great for the rest of your life. If you do what you do now, there's nothing wrong. You're fine. Right? Why? Because again, we get the best of both worlds. We get consciousness and we get physicality. So let's just simply enjoy it. But I am going to ask you this week to simply just look in the areas of life where maybe you've been holding too tightly to a particular way of being. And you kind of know there's a little pain there because you really want to be doing, having, or being something more. I urge you to go inside and listen to that something more and let it gently call you and speak to you. Amen? Amen. I say amen, that's okay. That's a duality. So we're going to have our affirmation, and then I'm going to close with prayer. So I'm going to ask everybody, because you can read the words for yourself. I'm going to go through them one time, and I'm going to ask everybody to stand, because what do we know is the energy we put into our words is very, very important. So obviously, it says, I am open and flexible to discovering and experiencing multiple new perspectives. Open at the top, yes. Please stand. You can stand at home too, why not? I'm just going to say 3, 2, 1, and let us go, because I don't want to drown everybody out. 3, 2, 1. I am open, discovering and experiencing multiple new perspectives. So it is. Amen. Please be seated. Now, we're having a love offering time, is that right? I have this, so I should, you're welcome. Yes. Can you take that over for me, please? All right, so we're going to take a moment now to give. There is a universal law of giving and receiving. And I actually helped a student experience, because they kept telling me that they weren't loved. And it wasn't really they weren't loved in the way they wanted to be loved. And so I urged them. I said, go find somebody in your family, a friend, and love on them. And what I mean by that is go do something kind, just without being asked. And they came back completely changed. But like I didn't realize, in essence, I'm going to put my words in there, that they had it. They thought it was missing. They thought they were feeling separate. They thought that was the duality. They were in lack, but by doing the thing we didn't think we had, we show that we have it. And so it's the same way. We know that what we give comes out how? Multiplied. Always, because that's how spirit works. So, I don't know why I'm blanking. We have a few ways to give. Zelle, bank to bank, very safe transfer. That's why we put it up there. It's similar to PayPal, however, there's no fees involved. So, of course, you can always do PayPal. If you go to our website, there is a QR code to scan, or you can write a check or whatnot. I know some of you give already online, so if you don't have anything to physically give today, that's okay. I still want everybody to come up and receive. We have affirmation cards. I bought some new ones too. So please take one with you and then use it, and then pass it along. Pass that good vibes along. I'm going to ask Alan to play for a couple minutes while we go ahead and get our offerings ready. Thank you. So this is, in case you don't know, our offering bowl. I can see some people already did that. So please make sure you take a card.
so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so glad. I am so glad. I am so grateful. I'm so glad. Anybody need assistance? I am so glad. I am so glad. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so glad. I am so glad. I am so grateful. I am so glad. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. All I am. I am so glad. I am so glad. I am so grateful. I am so glad.
Come on, okay. So in this idea of giving and receiving, I do want to give, right now I want to give attention and thanks to our tech team, Christopher and Marina and Brianna. Bree. Yes,
Brianna.
Jack? Yes, okay. I didn't understand what you were saying, I'm sorry. So yes, our tech team, I want to give thanks to Ellen. And most of you may not know, but we have a practitioner in the back who's practitioner Bill Smith, who's been holding high watch and basically keeping the consciousness positive and flowing. So we give our thanks to them. And I'm going to ask practitioner Sue to bring up our offering. I love your outfit. Awesome. And the stole is just like, sounds like we planned it. Always watch your step there, careful there. All right, if we could, I do believe in directional focus, so put our hands out. And what we know is the presence of God, as we know, is everywhere in its fullness. So we simply bless these offerings. And we know that it multiplies in its givingness to CSL St. George, and as we tithe to our community partners. We see this as eternal abundance. We see this money doing good things, including being a payment new center that offers us classrooms and a big kitchen and a meeting room and a nice, beautiful sanctuary and on and on. And how do I know this? Because that's the image I hold. That is the vision that we each hold. And I know the Spirit says yes. So, and now,
Me.
Christopher. What? They lost it again? Yeah, okay, but we have the tech guy.
I don't know why it's doing that.
Light, yes, turn it on.
Yeah. I'm scared.
I'm scared.
We all are.
Need a microphone.
Go.
All right, so I'm here to give you announcements. Thank you, Joe, Reverend Joe, for the talk today. It was very thought-provoking and lovely. And spun my head around a few times, kind of like The Exorcist.
Now.
One of the things that we offer at CSL is a community care circle. It's a way that we can offer to our community in need or that just would like some support in any way, or if they might have a relative that could use some support or whatever. And we do have the phone number up there.
if you do have a prayer, all you have to do is send it to prayer@cslstgeorge.org. That comes to the practitioners. We get those, we each do prayer over them. And it'll give you a response, but know that they're always taken care of. And our next in-person service will be November 12th. Is that the second Sunday of? Always?
Always.
Always. Forever. Until we have a third wave.
Yeah.
So our social gathering is a new thing that the leadership community has brought together. And the first thing that's going to be coming up, it's going to be on Tuesday, October 24th from 6 to 9. It's our social gathering because we're finding that since we only meet here one Sunday a month in person, a lot of us long to be with each other more often and have some more really heavy, deep spiritual conversations that spin our head around. And that's going to be held, it's going to be a video and discussion by John O'Donoghue. So we'll watch the video. We invite you to bring your own snack. And then it is a $5 donation because it's at Sue's Clubhouse and she has to rent the space. So we'd like to cover that. And then, can you help? So our leadership committee has been going on for quite a few years now, and it's beginning to kind of shift around. Now we've got Reverend Joe. We have bylaws, and our current bylaws stop a couple of us from actually serving any further, myself and Gwen. But the bylaws that we do have are very old. They were written by Reverend Josie way back in the day. They were slightly updated by Reverend Laura, but they're due to be updated so that we can keep ourselves in a really good flow and have some sort of basis of how we operate. So we're looking for people who are gifted in that way, who maybe served on boards or worked with bylaws in the past.
And they're a legal entity, right? We have to go abide by these laws as an organization.
Yeah, so don't trouble.
So it's not like a club law where we're like, okay, we're not chewing bubble gum this week or whatever. These are things that we must follow. And because we've grown, thanks to all of you, it's time for our bylaws to grow and expand with us.
Yeah. So if you really want to be a part of the foundational structure of CSL, it's a really good opportunity. We really, like I said, because of our bylaws, and they'll probably be written the same where you can only serve so long. We need new people, new ideas, new thoughts, new prayers, new thinkers. So it's so important as this old leadership starts to slowly drop off that you as our congregation or people that like to see us thrive step up. So if you want to be a part of that, please contact Marina Anderson. Of course, there's no Zoom conversation today because we're live. Our upcoming Sunday, next Sunday, October 15th, is going to be Reverend Steph St. Amand. I don't know if you haven't watched her online. She's adorable, but she gives a really powerful, super intellectual, fun, thought-provoking.
I apologize, sir. I don't have it. Her picture's there. It's just not showing. What happened?
She's very cute.
It's online. You should
It's
be online.
Okay. It's the block here.
And then, so that's next Sunday. And then the following Sunday, October 22nd. Tyranny of the Or. How you do it.
Neither do I. Weird.
Yeah. So I think that is it for announcements. We'll bring. If anybody has anything to say or. Did y'all love today's service?
Oh, yeah.
Homework. Do next Sunday. Take it away now.
Closing song.
Yeah, stand up. Am I supposed to stay up there? Am I supposed to encourage you to sing?
So this skeleton walks into a bar.
Oh, I like
He
that.
says, "Give me a drink and a mop." Apparently he couldn't hold his liquor. It's a new day, today is shining light. My way without say, I know that's for me. I pick my face, it's not because I know
and I am creating my own destiny. I've been drawn to have some power here on the mind. So I choose to grow, if I choose to thrive, the longing will not be denied. It's a new day, today it's a new life. My way, the doubts they are no match for me. I face my face, that's why, because I know that I am creating my own destiny. Right here, right now, think that I am whole. There is nothing else that I need to know. I affirm my worth, I'm deserving of God's goodness abounding in love. It's a new day, today it's a new life. My way, the doubts they are no match for me. I take my faith, that's why, because I know that I am creating my own destiny. As I believe it, so it will be.
We don't get fired over the skeleton, do we?